Bonjour, good afternoon, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Yo, how we doing? Drop us a wave in the chat if you're here. Let's see what faces we've got this week. What's up, Jordan? How you doing? What's up, Parrish? Chat, you're gonna have to bear with me a little bit today. I might have fallen asleep straight away as I finished my dinner and then woke up like, I need to get online. So you have to bear with me if I'm a bit sluggish. It's all good. It's all good. Great watching from Vancouver Island in Canada. Whoa. Miles away. Miles away. That's awesome. That's one thing I love about these streams is the fact that like there's so many people from all over. Got friends down in New Zealand all the way to Canada. What's up, Milo? How you doing? How are you? What's up, Adwat? And Holly, how you doing? Watching from Denver, Colorado. Love your tutorials. They have taught me so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate the love. Appreciate you dropping in. I'm not sure if I like this lighting anymore. Like, it's all a bit dark. It's maybe a bit too bright. I'll sort it out next week. Hi Joe, what's up? Not a lot really. I woke up about 20 minutes ago, so I was just apologising if I'm a little bit sluggish. I am knackered. And MM and L, hello from NYC, how you doing? And Parrish is from Lyon in France. A bonjour to you. What's up, Charlie? All over the world today, all over the world. So I wasn't live last week. I just want to touch on that a little bit. I wasn't live last week before I get into doing some drawing because March was such a great month, but it was really busy for me in terms of drawing all the time. We had Text Tuesday, we had obviously a Patreon tutorials, and we had all the YouTube tutorials that you normally have anyway. And I just got a little bit sort of creatively burnt out. I'm still kind of struggling with it now. I've got an idea for today's live stream anyway, but the creativity was just like not there at all. I was completely burnt out just in terms of creating ideas and concepts to draw. And yeah, and sometimes you just got to take a break, and I'm not afraid to take a break where necessary, just to step away and try and reset a little bit. But I think last month I did 13 tutorials in 1 month, which is quite a lot. So yeah, it was quite a bit for me last week. So decided to take 1 week off, and now we're back. So Charlie, out. Well, how you get? So yeah, no bit of creative, but I want to show you some stuff that I've been working on in the meantime. I want to show you some drawings that, you know, I still draw when I'm burnt out, but sometimes the ideas just aren't where I want them to be. So I'll show you a few things that I've just drawn since I've been away. This is beautiful, and I love this one. Little sunset beach scene. This one is this one's really fun because you got the blurred out sort of plants in front of you. So this one, like, gives you a lot more like perspective, and you got that real close set of plants close to you. You've got the water in the distance, and then it like the sky is just non-existent. It's just one of those really bright days, just really beautiful in the little steps in the sand and stuff. You can see how sort of simple the vegetation is as well. Sort of the what's it called? The grassy reeds, I guess, on the beach. So that was pretty cool. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that, and Milo. So that was one thing that I worked on. Let me just flip it around so I don't show anything potentially that I shouldn't show in terms of tutorials coming up. I was then messing around with doing like an Arctic kind of scene, like a little painting scene. I'm really into doing these landscapes anyway, but now I feel like I've obviously got a bit of a style in terms of getting these paintings right. So this one was kind of an Arctic theme. Do you know how hard it is to try and paint something like that in terms of the colors? Like, I was there for ages trying to work out the colors and make sure just painting in with white just of course just doesn't do it. It just does nothing for you. You have to introduce some grays, some very light blues, some dark blues on the side there, and just very sort of grey, washed out, desaturated tones here in the actual snow itself. So that was something I was trying to draw, and in the end I quite like it. I think it looks really calm. Cold, it looks very cold, but very calm. The water looks pretty cool underneath, just a very light ripple, just very cold and calm scene. I was pretty pleased with that one. That's something that we messed around with. What else have we got? Let me know if you're still here as well, because I saw a little spike of lag there for a second. What else did I mess with? What else do I want to show, really? This was, I'll show you this because it's not going to be used, but the concept kind of works a little bit. I need to add a few whales. That'd be a good idea. Just poking up out of the water. That'd be cool. That Arctic one, I'm not sure. So to touch on these sort of landscape ones, I love doing them, but the brushes themselves are currently only on Patreon, and I was trying to like take as long as I could by keeping them exclusive. So hit and miss really as to when or if it. I don't want to put my patrons through it too much in terms of giving lots of landscape designs all the time, because some of them can be tricky, especially to like, you know, imagine where all the sort of highlights will sit. So it's kind of hit and miss really. But yeah, for sure. I mean, that would be a nice little addition down here somewhere. But yeah, I'm trying to balance it a little bit. I really want to do it more, so then I feel like I need to put them on YouTube. But to do that would mean the brushes are then they're no longer exclusive. So yeah, it's hit and miss really, just hit and miss. We'll see where we end up. I'm not objected to put them on YouTube, to be honest. Right, let's show you. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else. There's a few things there that I'm going to hold on to for a minute because we've got potentially tutorials coming up. But I'll show you this one. I was kind of hit and miss on this. It's a paper cutout style, but with an animal instead, and just use, of course, a tiger, but using a reference image and then creating the layers in it. But to be honest with you, I don't like how it came out, especially just being a tiger. Your shadows are dark and it's got quite dark features in terms of the black stripes. So it's not something I think it's not the right animal. Let's put it that way. Potentially something else would do a better job. But that was like a paper cutout style of a tiger, but not bit hit and miss on that one. We'll see how that goes. But today I'm going to draw. I've got an idea for a really rustic looking padlock. So that's what I want to do, and then take it from a flat design into a 3D design. And Holly, you like the style though. I appreciate that with the what's it called? Tiger, the paper cutout. Right, so let's set the background to say black to start with, and let's just start drawing in a very basic padlock to start with, and then just give it some nice fancy. I'm thinking like a really rustic but beautiful, you know, style. Something a bit of calligraphy in there, not calligraphy, but swirls and curls. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's turn on a drawing guide. So this one here, the idea I've got is that I'd start off flat with the design and then sort of skew it and make it 3D, which would look really cool. Holly, if you like paper cutout style, you're gonna love this week's YouTube tutorial. So if you hang around in the chat for a little while, I'm sure at some point I might give you a little sneak peek, unless you've already seen it over on Patreon. If you're not already a patron, you get sneak peeks of designs way before. I try to make sure at least 5 days at a minimum. Yeah, the shape actually worked out pretty good straight away. I'm quite happy with that. But this is all just going to be a run for a potential tutorial, so just trying to think of a little lock design. It's kind of cool. I didn't actually create any colours for the lock itself, or the bit over the top. How's everybody been anyway? Enough about me. How's everybody been? You're super excited for the paper cutout. Have you seen it, Ollie? I think you're a patron. I think you are. Am I right? Pretty confident. So G Angel, how you doing? Is that right? Do we think that's chunky enough? Maybe we need to just chunk that up a little bit. So anyway, March did go really well. I was really pleased with Text Tuesday. They're really good to do, but it's just, like I mentioned in the very, very beginning of this stream, it's just a bit tricky to come up with the concepts all the time on top of what, you know, I always have to do for everything else. So I'm not objecting. I'm not against doing them in the future. This is that sluggishness I was talking to you about. Doing them again in the future, or an occasional Tuesday tutorial here and there, because it's a good day for me to do that. That's cool. I quite like that already. You have not. You wanted to join, but we'll likely do it after this video. That's awesome. If you do, and it happens to be during the stream, you get a little notification on the screen. Welcome to the family emoji. Emoji? GIF. A lot of work. Milo says a lot of work this week at the office. Just today I grabbed my iPad. It's I feel like everybody's so busy at the minute. So busy. And it's great because the streams, you're actually starting to see like different sort of circles of people come in and out of the streams, which is cool. Lock-wise, I think that's good. And I'm kind of happy with the shape. What I need to do though is create some depth in here. So to duplicate this layer, maybe, what should I do here? Let's grab a darker color. Uniform this down, pop it back in the center. I've not had a go at this at all, so I'm just trying to plan it out and see where we end up with it. I think that's fine. and then we can let's just sketch out the rest. Sketch it out first, so we can make some quick adjustments where we need to. I've had a lot of really good feedback lately from a lot of people regarding the tutorials, which is awesome to hear. I know a lot of people are really enjoying them and have found a type of tutorial that they really enjoy. Finding a creator who explains things in such a way to you that is really useful is key, because I was listening to another creator recently speak about how the way we do things is not necessarily the best way ever. It's never the best way. None of your favorite creators all do it the right way. It's just finding somebody who does something in a style that you really like. What's up, Julie? How you doing? Nice to see you. How's life? And Milo says, for all you guys here, please like the video and check the links for Joel's Discord. Absolutely appreciate that, Milo. You can join my Discord, folks. It's completely free. It's in the link in the description. Come and join the community over there on Discord. Share your designs with the community. So I'm thinking something like that. That works out quite nicely. And then something either from the top, maybe some sort of like swooping. I'll work on that in a second. Life is hectic. I've missed you guys almost as much as Joel's missed me. What's new with you? That's kind of nice. I quite like that. And then we cut out the center. So I've got some reference images off to my right hand side where I've got some nice rustic little features here and there. So I'm just using them as potential guides for inspiration. Some nice bolts in there. So we're just sketching it out lightly to start with. I think if we just run a line, let's just say like that can be a guideline, and then we can maybe create little flicks off of here, a little flick off here. There we go. Holly Richards, pledged on Patreon. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much for becoming a patron and joining the family, and you get access to all of those extra tutorials. That's everybody in the chat. Thank you, Holly. Holly, just keep an eye out in a second for an email that you're going to get, and it'll just give you all the information as to where you can find your tutorials and everything we've got available over there on Patreon. And then when you join the Discord in the link in the description down below, you'll get even more areas of access, so you can come and join in with the rest of the patrons as well. You got a new job, Julie, a new pet, a new house, new hobby, can't keep up. Damn, what's your new... Oh, the new hobby is the designs, isn't it? Of course, for your... What were they again? What do you want to call them? Like graphics? Yeah, like streaming graphics? Because weren't they were stream... Oh my god, what's that game called? Lightsaber. Beat Saber, that's it. And maybe some nice big flares here. So this sketch here at the minute will come to life once we start to add in all the actual detail afterwards. So just letting that line guide where I'm going to end up. Super excited to see all the tutorials. Thanks for the warm welcome. No, thank you so much for becoming a patron and showing your support. I appreciate you. I've had a great month already so far, and we got another tutorial next Tuesday, which a sneak peek will be out for on tomorrow. Be out tomorrow. So this bit now is like really key to making this really come to life. But sorry, to touch on a second ago, new job, new pet, and new house. Congratulations on all of those. What pet did you get? Charlie, you can have this dog if you want. Sweetie, I'm working. I'm at work. Well, say hello then if you're going to come and be annoying. Look, who's that? What's this? No, that's leftover food. Who's that? Say hello. Who's that? Right, I'm at work. I'm at work. Come on. Off you get. Come on, back. Lie down. Yeah, Holly, we do a weekly doodle challenge over on Discord. So I'll post like a concept or a actual doodle, and then you can create something of it, and you got a nice thread to share it. It's awesome to see everybody's different interpretations on things and what people see every time they see a doodle in comparison to everybody else. What's up, Marie? You're on your phone. Hate watching it live on my phone. How's things? How's life? How's the channel? Need to make some spirals and twirls and curls in these other areas. So we're just sketching out a design at the minute. So no judgment just yet. We're just trying to get an idea for the shapes we need to make. That's going to look really, really quite pretty when it gets down to here at the bottom. And then I want to introduce more like leaves throughout that. That look quite nice. Maybe like a leaf here. And Ali, how you doing? Just wanted to pop in and say thanks for your awesome videos. I appreciate you, Ali, and I appreciate the love. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Charlie is cute. He's just on a love, like he just pesters until we do it. Until you throw the ball for him. And you adopted another cat. My current cat hates the idea though, but couldn't say no. Thank you. That's awesome. A friend of mine has recently adopted another cat, and the introducing process, from what I heard, to their other two cats was not the best. So at the minute they've also got a cat in like a spare room, waiting, I guess, until the right time to, I don't know how that even works, to be honest with you. Reintroduce them again, or so the only thing I've noticed is this spiral here is the only one that spirals off towards the bottom. So I need to, I could do that up there actually. Okay, that's cool. Any of you listen to the podcast that I happened to put in the, where did I put it? In Discord the other day. That goes there, then that needs to be way tighter there. That needs to go. This is quite a fun process actually, because you get to create this and then see what you can come up with. That looks nice. I like that. These circles down here now don't have any space, so we'll just have to give them a new home slightly off to the right. Okay, that's cool. Thank you, Milo. Appreciate that. And Julie says, dogs are definitely a reason my dogs love the new cat, whereas my old cat is plotting to kill me, I'm sure. What's up, Takisio? And Julie says, I haven't listened yet. Is that a regular thing she does? It's not. So it's a regular podcast with that particular creator, not creator, with the lady who runs the podcast, not with Flo. But it's a fascinating listen to into a little bit about Flo and her life. So if you're a fan of Flo, folks, there's a podcast out there, which she did with Artsy Potters, I think they called it, the podcast. But it's definitely worth a listen if you just want to get to know, one of your favorite creators a little bit more. I think I remember seeing it though, like last year. I think Flo herself posted it on her story, and then I saw it, and I just never got around to listening to it, and then eventually got around to it this week. I don't want to make this too intricate. Fear, I've already done that though. But I followed the person who makes the podcast, so I never know. Maybe get an invite. Maybe. Although you guys know everything already. To be honest, if you're already here every week, I tell you everything. Okay, this is coming out quite nicely. I think I'm almost ready to start lining it up. I think it's just adding in the final little details. So you're kind of getting an idea sort of the process and just like how I'll just sketch stuff in. If I don't like it, just simply just get rid of it real quick and early, and then just continue to refine any edges and bits that we need to adjust. But I think overall it's pretty much there. I just need to make sure all little gaps are nicely filled in. Let's just thicken this one out. Yeah, I quite like that. This is going to get crazy when we start to add some 3D stuff. Your design, Jordan says, your design could work for the top of a guitar. It absolutely could do. Put the stem up there, couldn't we? I literally thought that when I saw the shape initially. Thinking we maybe come in here. Actually, let's just, for the sake of symmetry, remove that for a sec. So, design-wise lately, like I said, I've had a bit of creative block lately. If you weren't here at the very beginning, I mentioned that last week I took the week off from doing the tutorial, doing the live stream, just simply because I felt a bit burnt out, and so needed some time to just sort of gather some thoughts together and some ideas, really, which helped a bunch, to be honest with you. These bolts, yeah, that's fine. Cool. All right, let's but what I was getting at there is I already had some designs I was already planning anyway, so I need to just crack on with that. I didn't erase half the circle on the right side. You're damn right. I'll leave it though for the minute. It's all good. It'll work out in terms of symmetry. So now I've just turned that opacity right down, and now we can draw in the proper shapes. I'll have to bear in mind certain things, such as leaving gaps here and there where things need to layer potentially on top of each other. That is going to be a little bit tricky. So much detail there. I think what I might have to do is just draw it in first and then make little cutouts just to separate things. That would be the quickest way to do it. I'm going to use a script brush for this one, I think. And let's just start trying to get the basic shape correct. How big is that? Very large, and it's not on a new layer, so let's just drawing assist that, pop that on a new layer. Is this brush going to be the right one? Potentially I need to go up to this one. It's way too sensitive. I'm not sure I like how this one flicks on the end. Let's try this one. That looked like the right one, because that will nicely curve into it. It just looks a bit pixelated. Why is that? Has that gone jittery? I don't remember which one I normally use, to be honest with you. It's not been that long, is it? Thank you, Shawnee. I appreciate that. Shawnee, did you just become a YouTube member? Or is that already there? Did that not pop up? Or where are your messages with the badge on the side? I don't remember seeing that just a second ago. I want something that's got a real lack of pressure curve. This is a beautiful brush, but it's not the right one, unfortunately. We don't want something that's got to have pressure attached to it. Okay, let's just make a duplicate of this. And let's just change it to what we need it to do. That will take a little bit out of it. You know, let's just try the normal script brush and I'm gonna have to be intense with the pressure. I always like a 100 amount of streamline and a 50% stability. Takes so much out of the line. It's so much easier. The Pegaloin Soldier? Pegolin Soldier? Pegolin Soldier? I don't know what that is, but I appreciate you being here. How you doing? Shawnee, I was just saying I didn't realize you were a YouTube member. I didn't know if it was something you'd just done, so I just wanted to thank you if it was, but I think it may have been from before today's stream, I guess. A few people joined as YouTube members recently, like without me being live, so that was pretty cool. Had a couple of extra supporters there over on the YouTube members side of things. You get little extra emojis in the chat. So this is where we're just going to start to ink everything incorrectly, and you got to be super bang on with your line work. And every line's got to run super smooth. You got to make sure these lines all start to just run into the next one. Keep making sure they all run in nicely to each other. A little curve of the wrist here and there works really well. And in the end, I can go in and maybe tidy up some line work if they're a little bit too thin or thick. Okay, that's looking good. Trying to work out what to do. I might just duplicate that for a second and come back to it. So again, we go right out here and we just let that line just run down nicely. What's up, Jay? How you doing? What's up, Elizabeth? How are you? And Shawnee says, I've been following you on YouTube for a while before I found your Patreon. I love how you explain what you're doing and the little sidebar bits of what you're aiming for. Was stoked to see you had a Patreon. I appreciate that. Thank you. I always try to say, like, I'm never done sort of making the videos better. And so the concept of adding in the what to aim for on the side was inspired by just feedback. So the more you let me know sort of what it is potentially users struggle with, etc., I can try to aim to create new means to make life a bit easier. So they won't be in every tutorial. They're only going to be in certain things. Like, I believe like landscape tutorials are pretty key, because it can be hard sometimes to sort of gauge where my mind is when you're trying to also do the tutorial. So that line run out. So yeah, just a super nice little feature just to help everybody. And obviously I have the benefit of the fact that the tutorial's actually done, of course, at that point. So I can just go in and sort of grab the layer from the Procreate file. So the aim for this one as well, if you weren't here earlier, is this is eventually going to be made 3D. So we'll eventually maybe skew it slightly and see what we can come up with that way. And Shawnee says, this is my first time being able to join a live. I've been trying to, but school made it hard. I appreciate you being here. What are you up to at school-wise? It's always nice to see new faces in the chat, for sure. And Elizabeth actually says, hey Marlo, got a scoop, but I'll check back in later. I appreciate you, Elizabeth. Thanks for dropping in. This particular line here actually is not the nicest. That needs to come from like here. I need to do that in 2 movements really. Let that run out to there and then do this one. And then this one. Julie, are we going to end up seeing you creating a Patreon soon for your avatar creation? I see people do that all the time. And Jonah says, I like that I feel challenged with your tutorials. I appreciate that. I think there's so many things that are challenging to a lot of people, like different for everybody. Some people find certain things really easy to do and to visualize in their head, which is a huge thing to help with creating something. But I know like people sort of struggle maybe with, or like the idea more of like doing like a James Julia style tutorial. If you've not already seen his tutorials, please go and check him out. He's awesome. But like his tutorials, if you were to look at them on paper, you'd be like, whoa, that's insane. I don't think I could do that, but you really can. It's just a matter of the teacher helping you through the process. Once you do it a few times, you don't realize all the things you actually pick up. Flo actually touched on this in the podcast that I was referring to earlier, where you don't realize all the things you genuinely do pick up, like as somebody following the tutorials. Like some people think that they're a bit of a waste of time because, well, you're not creating art, you're not doing it for yourself and not creating your own stuff. But when you do, you realize all the things. A few people here and there and just say, hey, I've got an idea. Do you want to rock? Do it. That would be cool though, right? Kate says, James Julia. He is a wonderful Procreate artist and content creator. Does some fantastic landscapes. So go check him out. One big project with everybody. So yeah, I'd love to put some of my ideas, which is very close there, to what I was thinking, into practice. You see that sketch that I initially made has been abandoned in certain areas because it just doesn't look like the line work should necessarily go there. Don't really like that. There's something wrong with that top side. That's fine. That can stay. Maybe I just need to do one curve that goes the opposite way. That's quite pretty. It's almost like a swan head or something towards the top. Like that's how I'm envisioning it. Jordan, how did that come about then? You mentioned there actually found you because of James. How did that work? In what way do you mean? Julie says, not convinced any of your own followers to do one yet. Was that a big collab? Like 1000 did with the great collab. What's that? And Holly says, totally should do it. Just never know. They might be thinking the exact same as you. It's a good point. It's a good point. What pen are you using just now, Julie? The pen I'm working right now is the script brush. And Jordan, maybe do something like a Procreate Creative Retreat. That'd be cool. No, that one actually did look okay. That one did look okay. This is looking quite nice, isn't it? It's quite nice. And the only thing I don't like is this. This one flares out this way, and then it looks like it's very skew. It doesn't look like it goes very well. This looks great here, but probably needs thickening up a little bit. We need to have like a main spine of the design. So it kind of, so there's like a constant line that runs all the way through the middle. Now that looks better straight away. Loads better. Okay, that's one shape. And then, yeah, let's do it on one layer. Let's do it on one layer. Let's go to the monoline brush. Let's draw in these. Let's draw in the bolts in the corners. Oh, one thing I've also started to try and do in tutorials is let you know the size of things when I put them on the screen. So I'll like go to the cursor and grab the exact dimensions of the item that I'm currently working on, just so that everybody works to the same size. Which is another thing which somebody was saying a second ago about the help on the side. Shawnee, it was actually. And GP, he's probably using the monoline for calligraphy sections. He uses the monoline in order to tutorial. So I'm using the monoline now, but the previous one was just the script brush. And Jordan says, just looked at similar tutorials to James, and yours the first one that popped up. Oh, that's cool. I thought you meant as in we were on first name basis, me and James there, I was going to say. Pretty cool. Okay, that's this one down. So to do it off the fly, it's not that bad actually. I think potentially there'd be a few things that I would change, or I would imagine if I spent some more time on it that I would eventually change. But that looks pretty good. So what I've done there is just created the outline of the shape because I wanted to leave a gap. So what I might do now is just reduce that monoline right down and then repeat these lines. Create an arc. Hold pen down and try and get as best and as close as I can to that shape. Just leaving a nice thin outline between the two lines. Oh, that looks very nice. Very nice, because this is starting to show me the detail now. See, I went a bit off there. Can we recover that line a little bit? We can to roughly there, and then I'll just need to... Oh, I have to do it again. For this one, maybe I'll actually grab the line. I always hate this song that's in this playlist. It's too, like... It goes from, like, a really calming song to then that one. It's just way too edgy. What's that Julie saying there? I just caught like besties in the corner of my eye. I was like, oh great, Julie's calling me out now. Oh yeah. Oh, you want to be friends with James or James? Leave me alone. And Milo says 1000 began a painting on a large canvas and then sent it to other YouTube creators and then they painted. Okay, yeah, that's pretty close to my idea. You mean you and James aren't besties? Oh, okay. I'll take that back then. I'll take that back. Yeah, I think, like I said, there's lots of space still, I think, in this space to do stuff like that. 100%. It just, it's quite, I would say, like I said, it's a bit of a space, I would say, in YouTube that's a bit in its infancy still. So we shall see. I'll try my best to create some cool stuff maybe with other creators in the future, if they're up for it. Obviously, at the minute, I already do the special guests. I've just contacted so many people at this point, and nobody. Some people don't even reply, and that's fair. But it would be nice to have a reply. This is why you've missed me. Everyone else has been too nice. Yeah, that's true. And that was mocking voice was meant to be me. Yeah, it was. Okay, let's do Charlie. No, Charlie. No, lie down. Lie down. Hey, lie down. So now these bolts are going to look a bit large because we're going to draw them in first, and that's fine. Create the space for them. And then we're going to draw a smaller circle on the inside of that. In a minute. So something roughly like that is good. Do the same down here as well. Make that pretty good for size. So this one already is taking quite a while. So if this was to be a tutorial, it's going to be quite a long one. Let's then draw in the actual padlock space. So let's draw, actually let's draw the circle first. It's probably easier, isn't it? Go all the way around, create a circle, put a finger on the screen. Straight line down here. And across. Then let's erase in the center. That's cool. And then this little bit in the middle here. Lovely. Okay, I think that's everything. So I think now I should be able to drag and drop the color into there, solid shape like that. And now I need to do what I kind of done here and start to introduce little bits of detail. Just thought actually I need to maybe go in here. What's my dog's name? It is Charlie. Although I need to say that a little bit quieter so he doesn't hear. Otherwise it'll be I've got two dogs. I've got one called Charlie and one called Daisy. Right, so now actually let's add a mask just in case I want to get rid of or reintroduce something. Script brush again. But let's reduce this right down in size and start to cut away and go backwards. And introduce some like cut out bits of detail. So what this will do is this will just sort of show you that like certain things live in front of certain other objects. So such as here, you start to, you know, just create little mini shapes. That's all really. And then maybe refine certain edges as well, sharpen them up. Lovely. That's cool. You see, I quite quickly keep zooming out because I want to just make sure that the shapes, oh damn, the shapes look right. That I'm cutting away, and they it makes sense where the lines are all going. But does that make sense now? You're like creating all these lots of individual shapes, so now we can do little 3D elements on each one of those. Poor Charlie, let him play it. Marlo, I'm at work, you know what I mean? He can't be doing this. It's just, I'm joking. He runs free. He's just lying down at my feet now. What's up, Arturus? How you doing? And Amin, hello everybody. I'm sorry I'm late. How are you today, everybody? I'm very well. Thank you for asking. It's nice to come back to the stream after a week off and drawing this little padlock design. I'll show you guys some sort of other stuff that I've been working on if you're late into the stream later on. That's kind of cool. It's fine. Let's repeat this again here. So this weekend I've got a friend's wedding I'm going to, which is going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it though, because it'd be nice to just let loose for a bit in a good way. Of course, yeah, you know, let loose in terms of, you know, throw some shapes. Yeah, like I always hate the concept now, like maybe going out and drinking. I just can't. It's not me anymore. Used to be, but not anymore. And it's like occasions like that, you can just really let loose and have some fun. What's up, Claire? How you doing? How's things? Claire's drawing challenge. Oh, I haven't seen it yet. You mentioned there, Milo. I will make sure to have a look when I've finished the stream. Thought this week we would do the emoji challenge again, just to see if we can change it up from the doodles as such. See what else you can come up with. I think they're a good little idea in terms of just creating some variety. Plus, like, I like the way that this week it's a top hat and a ghost. The ideas are very sort of straightforward. They're already there. And what do you imagine? Like, what sort of scene do you imagine when you hear that? So, I think that was quite a fun one this week. See what you think of when you hear those words in your mind. Okay, this is working out quite nicely. Oh, how do you guys feel about me posting like throwback tutorials over on Patreon? Because I know some people have seen them, but not a lot of people may have either. Are you against it? Do you think it's clutter in your emails or anything like that? Or are you happy to see them in case you've missed them potentially? You know, like if they were added before you joined potentially. That line there's. This one here needs to be the dominant line. Julie, do you speak to Kirsty much at the minute? I know she's obviously very busy. We're all everybody's very busy with their own worlds. But do you speak to Kirsty much? Oh, cool. Sure you liked it. I'm gonna make sure. I think I'm gonna keep doing it for all of the tutorials that I throw back. So in terms of whether it's YouTube or Patreon, either. Something like that, maybe. I don't like that one. I think this one's a bit too big. That just doesn't look right on there, maybe. Refine that curve, that looks better. And maybe cut this one down quite a bit. Yeah. Okay, so there's a few things I don't really like. I don't like this. This doesn't look right in the slightest. This needs to be completely slimmed back. Maybe even back onto the actual layer. Oh damn, I've got a mask there, haven't I? Do you know what, actually I don't mind it when I zoom out the whole way. Okay, cool. Let's just go with that. Let's roll with that for a second. Looking at that, I think the outline needs to be slightly smaller of the padlock, so maybe freeform wise we just make that a little bit bigger as well. Uniform. That's cool. Much better. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate that. We're going to drag white into it. We're going to chop out the center color here. So let's grab that shape from that one and clear that out. Let's just keep that back there for a minute. And then I think all my detail, let's just carry on and see what we end up with at the end. Oh, of course, that needs to go above that one. And this one can go above here too. Turn my sketch off for a second. Pinch those together. So what I'm thinking now is, at this point, I'll introduce some of the detailing in terms of shadows and highlights. And then see what we want to do. I actually need to go ahead and alpha lock the layer, change it to a base color. I've got some idea of some colors here. So I've got some basics there. I'm going to create some clipping masks to it. Select the whole shape, invert it, and we're going to add in a very quick shadow into certain areas. So grab this dark color, go here, fill. I've shown you this trick a lot of times. And then from there, maybe we just gosh and blur it just a smidge. Sort of 2% will do it. And then move that to the top right. Two seconds, folks. I'll come back and take a look at what you're chatting about. Okay. Julie says, "Always happy to have my emails cluttered by you. I think it's a great idea. Even I haven't done all the old ones, so it'd be a good reminder. That's awesome." Jordan says, "Please keep them coming. I joined a while back, but I haven't seen them all. I like the frog one." Oh, that's cool. This is good feedback, guys. I really appreciate it. Julie says, "I spoke to her a couple of days ago. Actually, she's doing fine. It's crochet stuff on the go." Shawnee, I've been trying to find the wispy cloud one. The wispy cloud one. What was the wispy cloud one? Oh, the tutorial. Go to the link that I pinned at the top of your Patreon post. It's joelcreate.co.uk /my Patreon. Can somebody possibly grab that for us and pop it in the chat, if possible? That'd be magic if you could. joelcreate.co.uk/my-Patreon. Milo says, good idea, Joel. Post the throwback. And graphics. I found you on Instagram recently. I'd love to see what I've missed. So today I've just got an idea for a 3D locket. At the minute it's flat design. I want to create the aesthetic of the front of it. And then we're going to move into making it potentially 3D. Scottish Jewel. I don't like that. That was more like a northern, like Hull, saying my own name. Hey, Jewel. Is that for Claire's benefit? Oh yeah, I didn't know. I've had 2 weeks off and I've forgotten all the rules I need to bear in mind. Can't be doing that too much. Hey, Ducky. That's what my mum always calls me, Ducky, because she's from Hull up north. And Bart says that looks awesome. I appreciate that. How you doing, Bart? At the minute, we just created all the concept shapes for everything. I want to put some texture in here first. So I'm going to find a much lighter color. And we're going to use some of these pretty cool brushes here. I think it's under this one that I'm looking for. I think it might be under... It's one called Heavy Metal. There we go. And Heavy Metal, it's got quite a nice sort of scratched look to it. So I think if you ran that over the top, you'd already look at that. You get like lots of cool little bits of detail in here. What did I use this on recently? Heavy Metal. Oh, you haven't seen it actually. Let me show you this. I used Heavy Metal on this. It was just well, actually it started off as Heavy Metal, but then it ended up being something completely different. It ended up being wood. But I used this was a wood one. This isn't the tutorial, by the way. It was potentially good, but it's changed to something else now, which is going to be a tutorial on Patreon later on in the month. But where did I use Heavy Metal again? Oh, potentially in the gold text tutorial. That was it. Yeah, I know, Julie. It was bloody awful. I'm sorry. Shirley says, just finished shipping a bottle, so that would be awesome and super fun to do next. See, I want to get more of a like a darker look in here, but I don't want to do, to be honest with you, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying not to do too much work in terms of, if you select all of this, invert it, and then go to a new layer, clipping mask it, fill it, we can do our highlights all in one go and drag it down like that, and we get like a really cool look. But damn, I can't zoom out. Right, there we go. Because to be honest with you, there's so much detail there. That is the last thing I want to be doing, is going in there and adding in individual details onto each thing. But zooming in there, that looks way better. That's way better. And Geordie Payne just joined a Patreon. How you doing, Geordie? If you're in the chat, I appreciate you. Welcome to the family. Let's give him a yay as well. Geordie, if you're here, I appreciate you joining the team, joining the family. Oh, am I going to have to go in here, aren't I, and just do things individually, aren't I? Oh, yeah. It doesn't look right. All right. I can't drawing assist it either. Okay, if this becomes a tutorial, this can't be the case. It's just going to take too long. What time is it? 9:30. Well, I was planning on being in bed by 10, so that doesn't look like that's going to happen. So we just carry on. We get it done. So I'm thinking upper top left-hand corner is where the lighting will be. Maybe around the top here. Text Tuesday Gold, that was the one, Milo. Bang on. there wouldn't be much highlight under here, so we just need to let that run out. We do need to add. I'm gonna have to go in a minute, and I'm gonna have to like tidy up lots of edges here and there. But for the minute, I'm just gonna try and see what we can get in here in terms of detail real quick. Doing this manually probably would not be my recommendation to any of you if you plan on doing anything like this. It's not so much extra time, but usually there's a shortcut for a lot of things in Patreon, but looks like on this occasion it's not quite going to work out because the levels of I'll tell you why. The levels of detail with lots of the stuff in the design is very fine, so you only need to move it like a pixel to the side, and it looks great on one thing but doesn't look great on another. So I'm doing it all in one color to start with. Maybe I'll go in a second and adjust the color, but once I've got all the shapes in there for the highlights, I'm probably gonna have to go in and do the shadows as well in the same style. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a wedding this weekend with friends, which is gonna be fun. What else have we got coming up tutorial wise? Oh, we've got an exploding planet next week on Patreon, which is very fun to do. Looks really cool as well in the end. The final effect. See, like here, this detail got a bit too fine down here. Okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. Is everybody still here? Or are you just watching? You're just watching me get through the process? Ooh, that looks clean. Very clean. It's looking really fun. As always, the colours tend to look a little bit brighter on your end. If you're wondering, my colours tend to look a little bit darker. I did think about this today, actually. I was like, do I bother actually at this point investing in a very over-the-top camera, I guess, to try and make sure everything looks as accurate as possible. But it looks very clean, like very sort of illustration-like. Thank you, Guida. Appreciate that. And Milo says, hope you have fun, Joel, at the wedding and ease a bit. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be on next week, depending on what state I'll be in from that. I hope in a good way. I have so much fun. I'll be so tired. I won't be able to stream. Well, I'm still hungover. That's probably a good thing. Just for one night. Come on. Just one night, guys. That makes no sense. That shadow should not be there. The highlight should not be there, should I say. It should, though, be on here. I've got to remember sort of the angles of everything. Yep, that looks fine. And then this edge here, as long as it's facing the light source, it's fine. Which you could argue then is this line here. Those edges are facing. So that is the edge of the shape, so that one would be touching, that one wouldn't, yeah. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself at this point. Okay, cool. That's come out quite nice. A little bit over the top of this one. This song always sounds like a murder mystery or something. Like we're about to try and work out who did it. Actually, trust me, 3 days these days, that's it. I just feel it for so long now. I mean, I'm only 28, but I just never go out. Julie, do you go out much? In terms of like going out clubbing wise and all that sort of stuff, clubbing or going out to bars, etc. There's not much else to really do in Scotland, I guess. Can't go sunbathing, can you? Just gotta take what you can get. The last wedding I went to, I ended up getting the vid. So I was hungover and I got that, and so I was well and truly out of it. Maybe that's why I think I can't hack it, because that bad experience. Oh, this is looking crispy. Oh, damn. Claire, you make knowing where the highlights go so automatic. It takes me ages. The only thing I always think about is top left. Like, I always say it in all of my tutorials all the time, because I mean, it is a fundamental thing with design work anyway. But what direction has your light source come from? And mine is up here. Always identify where the light is, so that if by doing that, it would make life so easy. And so everything, when that light comes down, what edges would it hit? So this circle here is coming down here, and the first thing it hits is this edge here. And so the other side is your shadowed side. So what does it hit? Bang. As it comes through, what would it hit? And you can use your hand as a guide, literally, like as you're making your way through, what's it going to hit? At the top there, just here, it's just about to hit. Bang. A little bit of light there. You could argue I've made mine go a bit too far, potentially. But here as well, this one here could maybe be thickened out a little bit. It's just about sort of, a lot of it's like in your mind to try and structure the design. What does it look like? The outline. I'm thinking we duplicate that, clip that. Let's fill that with the highlight color and cut out the center. Around the outside, I'm not going to bother, because they're quite long lines. And they're quite simple shapes in a sense, the outline area. If I clear that and then move that top left, I can do that in one swoop in a sense. I will just need to go in and delete stuff. So such as here, you know, like I'll just need to erase this, get rid of that. That's cool. Lines coming down. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Now this is all technically wrong, other than when it gets to like down here. We can just let that. Oh, is that drawing assisted? Damn. Let's go back to where we were. Let's go again. Let's tap on that layer, turn off the drawing assist, move that top left. That's my fault now for taking the mick out of Julie there in Scotland. I don't go out much anymore, but I was out for the entire weekend last weekend, loads of birthdays, good chance I'm still hungover today. Plus, I never drink. To be honest with you. Yeah. But when I do, I'm like a child. Like I just get carried away. Okay, so this down to there. Let's just erase that for a second. I think with this you can get away with like your highlights being a bit like skewed a little bit, because you like maths, lol, you get it or you don't. That is true. That is true. I think with this style though, you can get away with your highlights of being a little bit sort of quirky, a little bit sort of off. Now my fear is I've now got to go in and do the shadows, which I do. Shadows are gonna be okay. I'm going to duplicate that. Jesus, this is turning into something way beyond what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, let's grab a dark color for the shadow areas. Fill that layer. Move it down on the inside now to create some depth. That's looking cool. I don't know if I'll keep the highlights and shadows quite flat and leave it like that. I don't know. We'll see what it comes out like. Now, shadow-wise, do I want to shadow the actual object or just create the 3D-ness of it? That's the question. Like if I fill this now and I drag this down to the bottom right, we create a much more 3D look. I think for the sake of time, that looks better. And that will be what we go for. The only difference is the center here just needs to be like pitch black. So I think that needs like a new layer here, I think it is. Yeah. In the center. That looks cool. So now I think you could get away with maybe like adding some detail on top. So like in here now, I could go ahead and create a new layer with the dark color. I could go ahead and I was initially thinking the heavy metal, but I'm thinking maybe something, I don't know, actually let's just try it. So just brushing in some of the texture. It's all over, just creating a bit more of like a really worn look to it. And then I think if we then just like did something really nice and just grab, say like this yellow, and then in certain areas just start to brush in some nicer brighter areas. So just where we can maybe try and squeeze them in. Maybe not force it. Oh, that's already looking really cool. The colours are starting to just start to blend in with each other. Drop in some lighter bits here and there. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe on this left side, we let the highlights just sort of be quite faint over here because it's kind of the furthest from the light source maybe. So we add some in, but we keep it a bit darker. So down here is going to get a little bit darker, a little bit less love compared to up here. Because that's where our light source is. Maybe just exposing some of the brighter areas and a bit of shine in here. So I initially had a bit of a very sort of flat look to this, but I think adding in these details here are really going to start to bring this out. That's looking pretty cool. Oh, before you go, let's see what you said there. I have to go and shoot off. Busy woman these days. Enjoy the wedding, Joel, and let that hair down. You're damn right, and earn the hangover. Have a lovely week, Julie, and I will see you hopefully next week. Well, if I'm here, that is. So that's come out really cool. Look how nice that looks. Quick bit of texture in there. Nothing too sort of intense detail-wise. Let's try and do the same on here. So just go around with a darker colour. Just brush up the darkness of it. Just create like a rough edge. Rough up the edges. Oh, hang on. This has actually got to go over all of this. I just realised because it's got to go all the way in the centre. Like that maybe, and then go in with like this colour maybe, and really try and chrome out some of this area here. Night, Julie. Now my highlights may have to become like layer effects. So what I mean by that is we've got like a really solid shape there. I'm not going to try and adjust its color. What I might do is just simply come to here and scroll through the layer options, and you could end up doing something like that, like ending up with like a really bright, I mean that looks super chromatic. I mean it's really weird though, like it doesn't look right. It's got like really burnt look to it, but it's kind of cool. It's the wrong effect though. It shouldn't be color dodge. It should be something a little bit more subtle than that. It should be, I would say Add normally would do it. Add is pretty good at doing that sort of stuff. Oh, that looks lovely. That looks like we've got a blue light source coming from the top onto a gold. And I have actually tried to accommodate for that. I have got some other colors here that I might be able to use afterwards should I feel like a little change is required. I'm thinking, let's scroll up. Let's go back to where we were. So we had normal. What did Add look like? Add looked good, but I think it would just need to be lowered down a little bit. Something closer to like 70%. That's going to let a little bit of the texture through, but keep the light, bright edges. That's pretty cool. Let's carry on with what I was doing, which was back onto this layer here and just brightening up certain areas that I feel I want to just add a bit of a lighter look to things. I can add in some brighter areas. And the best thing with this is because it's like quite a rough, rustic look to it. There's no real sort of precise requirements for this. I can brush over some of this, brighten up some of these edges, the little bolts on the top. Yeah, that blue looked pretty good, didn't it? It did look pretty good. I reduce the brush size down so I can get really accurate into these spaces here. I'm pretty pleased with this. It's a very long design. I would have to refine this in terms of a process if I was to make this into a tutorial. As always, that's always my goal. You know, all of these designs that I do on stream, genuinely, I know we joke about it a lot of time, but they are intended in the long run to be tutorials. It's just simplification. Again, something I heard actually Flo talk about in that podcast, just My tutorials on YouTube are always designed to be inclusive for all. Doesn't matter what your level is, and she also said the same sort of thing. But it would need to be refined a little bit in terms of the process. Now that padlock's looking sick. I think that looks really cool. I think we got some really rough detail in there. I think maybe we'd need to go back to this base layer here and like emphasize some brighter areas again in like these areas. So just like where the actual light's hitting. So we've got the nice yellow tones in there, but I've gone back in with the brighter tone just to try and emphasize where the light's hitting on this left hand side where we can. I think leave that right side a little bit darker. I think maybe those highlights, you know, that I just added could maybe do with a little motion blur, maybe just to take away the crispness. No, we'll leave it. We'll leave it nice and crispy. Nice and crispy. That looks awesome, Joe. I love it. Appreciate that, Milo. When you zoom out, that looks awesome. Really cool. The outline, though, is something I've not added any detail to. So I just reduce the brush size down and just brighten up this edge. Did I not change the layer effect for that as well? We can just go to add, lower that down to about 60. Very cool. And just brighten this up down here. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, I fear I'm about to get into something a bit too... I'll tell you what, I'll do it all flat first, and then I'll show you what I was thinking about actually doing before doing this. So the bolt at the top, I'm just trying to think whether or not I can get away with doing like simple highlights and shadows. Invert that. These are actually very quick and easy, simple ways to do this. I pinch those together and maybe just, I'm going to maybe motion blur them vertically, or even horizontally. What's the best way? Gaussian blur will do it. Yeah, that'll do it. And then I just need to grab both of those layers and just move that down a smidge. There we go. And let's rough that up as well. Let's get the darker tone. And let's just darken it up. Who's here in the chat then? Let's see who we've got in the chat. Say hi if you're watching. Good to see some new faces if you are here. This bit here, I've got to get a bit brave really and just darken up the outer edges. Just introduce some rough details. And then get in with some white on the highlighted side of things. Again, just in the aim to erase, like sort of make it look a bit sort of rustic. So guide up, you still here? Okay, so that's looking sick, but my initial idea, so let's just try and complete this one in a sense. You could leave it like that. You could go to your airbrushing, add in your light source there, which again to you looks really bright. So I'm gonna try and make that really soft and subtle. There you go. So that's what you could end up with. You could end up with something like that. You demonstrate where the light source is. You let the user know, or the viewer, light's coming from that way, so everything is then affected accordingly. Yeah, something like that. Now, I'm going to first of all duplicate the project. Let me just switch around because I don't want to show you some of the other stuff just yet. I'm going to duplicate the project and come back. Now, what I initially thought about doing was something completely different. Let's keep the background. Let's just grab every layer. And grab the cursor. Now, what I thought about doing initially was skewing this to create something. I've got to be a bit brave here with the actual lock itself. Just got to get that perspective right. Now, it would have been something like this, okay, and then just create a bit more of a 3D look to the actual body. So what have we got here? Let's swap that to the left and duplicate it. Maybe just grab the cursor and just drag that down a little bit, such as here. Just as a shape, because it matches up to the body quite well. And then this. Oh, is this drawing assisted? Is that what's happening? Yeah, so I was going nuts then for a second. Okay, let's delete that, duplicate it, do it again. Turn off the drawing assist, grab the cursor, create the 3D look to the lock. And then you could like alpha lock this for a second, grab a really dark color in my palette that I've added in. That's probably a bit too dark. Let's go a bit brighter so I can actually see the edges of it. Maybe grab this brown. Let's get the soft brush for a second. Or even like this color here, so maybe where the light just starts to wrap around the top. A little bit of light in, and then maybe around the bottom, a tiny bit of light in. And to be honest with you, I don't think you need to do much more than that. I think you could then maybe darken up down here, maybe. It'll very much make it look like it disappears, but you end up creating a lot more of a 3D looking lock. Kind of cool. That was what I initially thought. Something like that. Now, what I really want to do now is experiment with the color of the light source, because this is something that you may not have already seen before. So let me just read these comments though. Jordan says, it looks so real. Appreciate that. And everybody, Milo says hi as well. Appreciate. One thing you could do, so something you may or may not know with Procreate, if you select a color from your palette, you may have, of course, heard of complementary colors. It's the opposite color that complements the color of your choice. And you can go to this harmony tab here. And then from here, you select a color. So you still have your palette at the bottom, but every time I select, say, yellow, I get the yellow here, but I get its complementary color on the left-hand side. So because we do have quite a warm palette in terms of a yellowy orange sort of tones, more so yellow, your complementary colors a lot of time are blues and nice light blues. So of course, if you were to pick pink, your complementary color is the green up there, and you can just tap on the green there to select it, and you can pop it in your palette. So the cool thing is going to change the color of the original layer underneath. If you've not already used this before, if you go to your layer effects on a layer and you go all the way down to the bottom, use the option of color. Simply being, you have an object underneath that's in one particular color, and then when you go to the layer above it and you color, it's going to color the layer underneath with your new color. So you can see there, I've got the layer set to color. Let me change my screen because it's about to turn to night shift. You can see there I've started painting in with blue, and it's now starting to adjust the sort of yellowy tones underneath. I think it does look quite striking, to be honest. You end up with quite like a, I don't know, almost like a studio style look to it, where you've got a light source in a completely different tone. Now, we don't want to get rid of the yellows too much. We still want to keep them in, but in certain areas, just painting on that left-hand side of things, a little bit of blue, just to really show that that light is touching it. And then you go back, you go up a layer to here, create another new layer above the main body there underneath the metal. Change that down to color as well. And then very lightly just give it a gloss. It's going to start to take out a little bit that yellow. Arguably too much. You know, if I actually paint that in quite a bit, you can see what it does. It changes it from yellow to blue. I mean, that looks pretty sick anyway. But you can mess around with it. Just use the color option just to create some different variations in your designs. That's awesome. That looks cool. Let's go up to the lock at the top. Create a new layer on that one. Clipping mask it. Maybe change it to color again. And just bright, just a little bit on the lock at the top. But you keep the again, it's just like the balance of the lock itself looks great there, because you've got you have its original color, which is like the orangey gold sort of colors, and using, as it obviously is, the complementary color to it, the palette is always going to look nice. The only thing I would avoid, if I was going to say, like when you go to create color palettes, I try a lot. If you take a look at the disc here, this is obviously pure white, pure black, and then the top right corner is the pure color of that color. So I've got blue selected. If I double tap in the top right hand corner, so you can tap in the top left to go white, double tap at the bottom to do black, and top right to do blue. The color that you've got on the wheel around the outside, it's full pigmented version. What I would advise is not to do that. Don't put it up in the corner. You want to be aiming for like a space around here, not up here. It's too pigmented, meaning that it's just going to be too colorful, it's too bright. Your complementary colors are going to be so bright against each other that, like now I've got blue selected. If I go to harmony now, I mean, just look at that red alone. That red is so bright. But what you want to do is you want to just bring this in, and it will do it automatically. You see that in the wheel there? If I drag it into here, I end up with a much softer red. I end up with like almost like a pastel kind of color. And likewise, the yellow has been brightened down a lot. But that's a split complementary. You can do multiple versions of your colors. But complementary, you'll get a singular color on the opposite side. And then that's when you can create a palette such as this, where you end up creating a really cool 3D lock. That looks pretty cool, huh? So in the end, it came about quite quickly. I think for me, I did the sketch phase, which took a little while to sort of plan out where the lock's going to go. So that took a little while in terms of the duration of the tutorial. And then I'm going to change the playlist because this is just crazy. It always goes rounding repeats itself. Let's try and pick something a little bit different. Oh. Let's go for chill music. Let's try this. Probably sound like we're in an elevator or something, I would imagine. Okay, we're back. So yeah, just some that would help with realism as well. Your color choices. If you select too bright a color, nothing in your world is in a real world is super pigmented and bright. If it is, it's arguably something in neon. You know, that's how bright if you pick right from the corner of that wheel, that's how bright you're picking. You're picking like really neon colors in a sense. So just bear that in mind when you come to pick your palettes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to touch on there really. Oh, another thing as well, while we're talking about colors and extra choices, I think a really beautiful thing you can try and do sometimes is, if you go to your colors again, select complementary but change it. I don't know how to say this one, but it's the third option down. You pick any color and then you get 2 complementary colors above and below. So if I pick a blue, I get this really nice purple and a teal color. And in my opinion, you can use them quite well in terms of creating, this is your color, the one above it is your highlight color. Well, whichever one is the brightest out of the 2, and the other one becomes your shadow color. So here I've selected blue. I could use teal as a highlight color and then use purple as my shadow color. Just quickly, Jordan says, gotta fly. Joel, thanks for another great tutorial. Jordan, you're very welcome, my friend. Keep an eye out for it. Probably going to be on Patreon at some point, I would imagine. This one bit too long for YouTube maybe, but yeah, appreciate you, Jordan, hanging out. And everybody there asking, saying how useful the tips are. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Oh, sorry, I was saying, so about the colors. So yeah, you end up with like a really good highlight color and a shadow color. If we go to the third option down, this one I never use, but because it doesn't necessarily use like a complementary color. But as you spin this around, you get 2. Not opposing colors, but like, how can I put this? They're not necessarily complementary in any way. I don't know how this is useful to anybody, to be honest with you, but triadic is there. And then you can also use tetradic, which is just going to be 4 colors of choice, but definitely split complementary. This one here is very useful. Complementary of a singular opposite color, and definitely this third option here, where you can end up sort of really building a nice palette. Blue, light color. So if I go to green here, I end up with a slightly darker green and a more yellow. So I'd use that as the highlight, that as the shadow. If I drop it over here, this one always looks really good. You end up with yellow as your highlight color, and then like a pinky red as your shadow color. Nice way just to combine a quite nice palette together. Cool. That looks pretty sick. I'm pretty pleased with that. What brush did we use, folks? Let's just remember what we used. We used heavy metal for this one. If you want to have a go at this and obviously watch the stream back maybe, there will be a step-by-step tutorial at some point, but I used the script brush to create the shapes after I'd stenciled them, and then painted the texture in with the heavy metal brush, which is under industrial, heavy metal at the top there. But this will be a tutorial at some point. I'm really pleased with how that looked. What do I prefer though? What do I prefer? Let's copy this one, the 3D one. I think the 3D one's going to win, but let's see what you guys think. Let's go back to the flat version and paste it in here. Let's maybe move that one to the left. Oh, hang on, let's actually move that to the very top. And switch back. So what do we prefer? Do we prefer the 3D version? Or do we prefer the face on version? Now, ignore the color changes, because of course I've made those changes and adjustments. I think both look pretty well. I think the 3D one though, you know, looks the coolest. That light source looks like it's just glistening down on it. .3D. 3D. Okay. I'm very, very pleased with this one. Very pleased with it. Very pleased. Different to do a different angle, for sure. Okay, cool. That's one thing. So let's just remove this layer from here. The blue looks so much better as well. Drop in the blue color in. This music's intense. Is this... Guys, can you hear me, like, easily over this music? I feel like I need to maybe tone it down a little bit. Sometimes people say they can't even hear it, but it's like really loud in my ears. Okay, let's show you some stuff that I've been working on then, potentially. Folks, if you're not a patron, there's a link in the description down below to become a patron. Yeah, access to sneak peeks of upcoming designs, and you can get extra tutorials every single month. Now, of course, I've just posted a new tutorial over on Patreon, which is this one here. You can't hear the music, so maybe the music was fine where it was. So this one, of course, went live yesterday, which is the latest Patreon tutorial. You get a free brush set with this one, which, well, it's free once you sign up to Patreon, of course. You get this beautiful paint brush, which just looks so nice, so clean. That was the latest one. Let's show you something. What could I show you? What could be fun to show you? This is a look at this week's YouTube tutorial. Let's go live. Little Easter themed one, which I'm very pleased with. Nice little paper cutout design. Let's switch around. And Claire there says, guys, if you're not a patron, I recommend Joel. I couldn't recommend Joel enough, honestly, so worth the money and more. I appreciate you, Claire, as always, and all of your support. You're a star. And let's go back to where we were. I'm not going to show anything else off at the minute. I'm quite far ahead of myself in terms of designs, so we'll come back to them at a later date. Guys, if you're not a patron, I can't recommend Joel enough. It's so worth the money. Oh, that's alright. That's alright. That's alright. That's alright. There's some sick stuff coming on Patreon this month. Exploding Planet. We got so this month I've tried to do it the other way around to last month. Last month I maybe ended on a peak in terms of skill level with the mountain scene, or the painted landscape scene. But I've done it the opposite way around this month. I've started off quite sort of high with the cowboy design, and then we're get into some, not easier, but the skill level changes and the skill requirements changes. So we just come down a little bit, and we've got an Exploding Planet next week, followed by then a patterned hot air balloon design, which is going to look really cool. And it's really quite therapeutic to do, to be honest with you. It's quite nice and easy. It's nothing too hyper detailed at all. But yeah, some really fun stuff coming this month. And YouTube wise, next week, I can give you a hint at it. We've got a neon design. It's yeah, got a neon design coming next week. In terms of like a hand reaching out design. You may have seen one in a previous live stream before, but I've refined it quite a lot. So changed it up quite a bit. Has anybody got any questions at all, or anything? Anything at all? And Guide, I appreciate you saying that these artworks are absolutely goals. I appreciate you, and hopefully I can teach you how to do, obviously, all of them. They're all available as tutorials. Yeah, Claire, you remember that one. You're always here. I appreciate you. I refined it. Refined. Jesus, I fixed it. I fixed it in the end. I managed to get it looking nice, and I used a different reference image as well. So a little bit of photo manipulation, a little bit of drawing, kind of like the coffee cup one. They're really fun to do, and I think we can take tutorials in a different direction when we do a little bit of photo manipulation in there, as well as a little bit of drawing here and there. Because Procreate is very much like you know, very much like a Photoshop. You can, you know, you got so many options. And Myla, I love you too. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of your support, guys, especially like when you're here frequently in the comments, in the live chat, on the streams, in the discords, commenting on videos, liking videos. I appreciate you. It helps a bunch. It's great to see familiar faces as well. Sometimes you can get a little down moments here and there where you realize some faces, you know, people are busy. People are busy. Your hobbies change. They drop in and out and stuff. But yeah, it's great to see a lot of familiar faces all the time. You realize who's really sort of cracking on in your community. So Claire, I'm also gonna head off now anyway. But you said, right, I'm off, guys, and I'll see you soon here or on Discord. Well, folks, I'm gonna wrap it up today. We obviously drew the little padlock design. It looks freaking awesome, and I'm gonna make that into a tutorial for sure. Folks, if you've been here from the start or even just in here at all, I appreciate all of you being in here. If you're not here, as I always say, if you're not here, I'm not here. So thanks for hanging out. We'll begin. I might be live Wednesday. I'm going to just play it by ear, to be honest. If I'm not feeling it, I might not, but we will be back to sort of regular Wednesdays, as long as I'm not feeling any sort of creative block at all. But yeah, keep an eye out for the next tutorial on Friday. The sneak peek for next week's tutorial on Patreon will come out tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. And otherwise, have a lovely week. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening. Have a lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you again next week. Thanks for people dropping in as well, Shawnee, for you to grab a live stream as well. Good to see you in here. And have a lovely week, folks, and I'll see you again next week. See you later.